guys, it's Channon Rose, and this is part 2 of what am I gonna title this? I almost died. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell this. I almost died. Part 2, I took a pregnancy test and it came out positive. I was devastated. And there was literally just streams of blood dripping. I feel like half of my body is going paralyzed. I could not wake up from my anesthesia. If you haven't watched part 1, I'm gonna link it down below. Please go watch that because this will not make very much sense. But in case you don't feel like watching part 1 and you're a rebel and you just wanna watch part 2 for some reason, you can watch that here. If you're wondering what's on my lips, it is Lime Crime's Velveteen in the color Red Hot. People always ask me what's on my lips, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. Also, since this video is not sponsored, I'm sponsoring it with my very own subscription box. So if you guys have not heard about this, and if you have, I'm sorry if you've heard about this a million times, but please just know I need to pay my bills, okay? This is part of how I make my money. And I also think it's probably the best subscription box out there. And I'm not just saying that because it's mine. I'm saying that because I've gotten a ton of subscription boxes and I don't think that they're very good, or I think they come too often or whatever. And I feel like I've kind of curated the perfect subscription box, at least for me, in my opinion. So I'll tell you really quickly about the box and then we'll go on to the story time. So for those of you guys that don't know about it, it's a subscription box. It costs $29.99. It comes every other month. It ships worldwide, so no matter where you live, you can get this box. It's a lifestyle box. 4 to 5 items come in the box, like full size. This first box that came out retails for over $110, meaning all the stuff that came in the box costs over $110 and you only pay $29.99. It's also vegan, cruelty-free. Everything in the box is vegan, cruelty-free, eco-friendly. So the first thing that came in the first box was a copy of my book that was signed. Also these Perverse sunglasses, which are so freaking cute and they look good on like every face shape. I try really hard, I work really hard on these boxes to make sure that like anything that I put in is gonna look good on like everybody, not just me. These retail for $50. They're awesome. They look so good on everybody and everyone's been sending me pictures of them in their sunglasses and they look so good. Also in this box came Lime Crime, which you guys know I love, Velveteen liquid lipstick in Lulu, which is like the perfect nude shade for every skin tone. Again, awesome. The sunglasses also came with the custom RoseFam sunglass case, and there's also a bunch of other stuff that came in here. I'm not gonna do a whole unboxing. I did a whole unboxing. If you wanna see that, I'll try to link it down below. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because the next box comes in October and there's only a short window that you can sign up for the box. And also they sell out very quick. Like this sold out so fast and so many people got this. So thank you to everybody that got a box. But if you wanna get the October box, hurry up and get it now. There's only a very short window of time for you to get it. Probably like 2 or 3 days, maybe even 1 day left by the time I post this. So hurry up, the link will be down in the description box below and sign up for your box. If you already got this box, don't worry, you don't have to sign up again. You only have to sign up once. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's start the video of how I almost died. So if you watch part 1, we ended with I had surgery and had my fallopian tubes removed and also had a DNC. And I was like recovering from that surgery. It was like, I think 2 weeks after the surgery, maybe not exactly 2 weeks, it was a little before that. And like right to the point where like I felt like I was fine from my surgery and I was like doing better and all these different things, I started having really bad pain, like really bad pain in my stomach. And I thought like, oh shit, maybe I have an infection from the surgery, right? That's like what I was thinking in my head. And I was like, this is not good. My pain is not good. And it started getting worse and worse to the point where like I started feeling nauseous. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the emergency room because if I have an infection, like that's really scary. They didn't give me any antibiotics after the surgery. Like I should just go in and make sure I don't have an infection because I was like kind of paranoid because the pain was getting pretty bad. And when you have a surgery, like you're supposed to recover and each day you get a little better each day, you know? And for me, I'd gotten better and then all of a sudden, like, you know, it was like surgery, got better, and then all of a sudden I went like downhill fast and it was like, ooh, something's not right. So I went into the emergency room and I'm like, I think I might have an infection from my surgery. I'm having a lot of belly pain and, you know, I'm just not feeling good. Something doesn't feel right. Ow, actually, oh, sorry. I have like, I'm recovering from a different surgery. My emergency surgery, I'm still kind of recovering from. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, so I go into the emergency room. I tell them like, you know, I was pregnant. I had an ectopic pregnancy. I'm having really bad belly pain. I think that I might have an infection. Can you just check me to make sure I'm okay? That's basically like what I went in there for. So I go in, they draw all my blood. They are taking a ton of blood from me. They had to take blood from this arm and then from this arm. When they think you have an infection, they do like this special test where they put the blood like in these big glass jars, like to culture them, and they have to get blood from different arms. And so they have to poke you a bunch. It's like, it's no fun. Fortunately for me, I really don't care too much about getting my blood drawn. So it wasn't too bad, but you guys are not gonna believe what happened. So we get in, they put us back in the emergency room, they put us in a bed. The doctor comes in and says, so your HCG levels came back and they were like way higher. So I think that like my blood levels were like at 209, like right before I had the surgery to remove the pregnancy and to remove my tubes and get the DNC. Like my levels were at 209. Then they were way up from what that was. It was like way higher, right? And I'm like, oh my God, wait, what? Like, that's not possible. Okay, so now we're in the emergency room and I'm having this pain and I'm being told that not only am I still pregnant, but that my HCG levels have risen, meaning there's still a pregnancy growing inside of me and now no one knows where it is. The ER doctor is like, this is very unusual. I've never seen this before. And I'm just keep thinking to myself like, oh my God, that is not very reassuring, like to hear that, right? Not only that, I'm also having pain. So they give me a CT scan, which I freak out about because that's really scary. They have to give me like IV iodine, like flushed through me, and it makes you feel funny. Some people say it makes you feel like you're peeing your pants. Like I didn't get that feeling. I really just felt like super hot in my whole body and like it was just a really uncomfortable feeling. And you get like a bunch of radiation at the same time. And then they had to do like an ultrasound, like a vaginal one and one on my stomach, and like basically just ran a bunch of tests, and it was really scary, especially because I was still pregnant and I was pregnant in a place that's very unusual to be pregnant, and no one really knew where it was because it was still so small. So because the pregnancy levels were so like still technically low, you're not able to see like where it's growing, but it's growing and it's dangerous, right? So the doctor's like, I'm so sorry, I don't really know what to do at this point. I need you to follow up with like your OBGYN. So I'm like, okay. So I follow up with my OBGYN the next day. I call him, I'm like, I'm still pregnant. And he's like, what? I've never heard of this before. And I'm like, oh my God. Like every doctor that keeps telling me like they've never seen this before is like, makes me feel so much more scared because I'm like, they don't know what to do. They don't know like how to treat me or where it is, and they can't see it with like the medical technology that we have today. So like, what do you do? So my doctor is like, okay, we think we're just going to wait and see what happens. And I'm like, okay. He's like, so let's get another blood level test, you know, to see if it's dropping, even though it had already like gone up. Doesn't make sense, right? Anyway, so I get another Hcg test, which is like a blood test to see if the levels have dropped or not, meaning is the pregnancy dying out or is it gonna keep fucking growing? And this is when they thought, like not thought, but they realized like there was probably twins, because there was like something behind, like when they were looking at stuff, there was something behind the uterus and then like something on my pelvis, and they couldn't really tell what it was, but they're pretty sure that those were the two pregnancies, and that there was like a pool of blood behind my uterus, like all kinds of crazy stuff happening in my body that's like not normal. And also during this time, this freaking subscription box was going out, and I had promised everybody that I was going to hand sign the book that was going in these boxes, my subscription boxes. Well, the subscription boxes are being shipped from Philadelphia and New Jersey, meaning like all the way, I live in California, so all the way on the other side of the country. This was during the time that like I was supposed to be flying to sign these books, and I already had to like rearrange and change the flight because I had to have that one surgery to remove my fallopian tubes. So this was the second flight that I had booked to sign these books before the box went out, and it was like last minute, you know, that I was doing this. So I was like, Doc, listen, here's my situation. If you think that I'm okay to fly, you know, it's a long flight, to the other side of the country to sign these books. It's really important to me. I promised all these people, and it means a lot to me, like, you know, to make sure that I don't let these people down. Not these people. I told him, like, he doesn't know what subscribers are, right? It's because I don't think he gets YouTube. So I just said, I don't want to let these people down, or my subscribers down, by not having this book signed, because I promised him that it would be signed. So if I'm okay medically to be able to travel, I would really like to do so. And so he understood my situation, and he said, if your levels drop the morning of your flight, then I feel comfortable with you flying. So I said, okay. So I was praying that whole night, oh God, please let my levels drop. Not just because I wanted to go sign your books, but also because I didn't want to have to, like, you know, be worried that, like, you know, something was going to rupture inside of me and I could die. You know, this whole time it's like very scary situation happening. I don't know what's going to happen to me. And neither does anybody else. Well, thankfully that morning of the flight, we got our levels back, and they had in fact dropped. And so I was like, oh, hallelujah, praise Jesus. Not only is this a good thing because I'm, you know, losing this pregnancy that's trying to kill me, or pregnancies, I should say. And then also I get to fly to Philadelphia. So I fly to Philadelphia. I had to take a wheelchair because I was still in a lot of pain. And I had actually gone into the emergency room not once, but twice with this, like, severe belly pain. And they kept doing ultrasounds and just saying that it was old blood from the surgery. It was not old blood from the surgery. I'll tell you what it was. Because once I got to Philadelphia, we checked into our hotel. I fall asleep. In the middle of the night, I wake up in excruciating fucking pain. Like, this is way worse pain than I've ever had before. And I immediately run to the toilet and I start vomiting. And, like, this whole time I had been nauseous, not feeling good, but I'd never actually thrown up. And I was throwing my guts up in the toilet. And my stomach pain, you guys, honestly, I could barely breathe. It hurt so bad. I could barely walk. I'm like, Travis, we have to go to the emergency room. Something is not right. Again, right? We've been to the emergency room so many times. So many things have happened. I just had this surgery. I don't know what's going on. Not only that, I am in the middle of downtown Philadelphia, which at night is not the safest place to be. And it is like the middle of the night. And I get a cab and I tell the cab, take me to the emergency room. I don't know Philadelphia. I've never been there before in my life, so I don't really know, like, what I'm getting myself into or what the nearest hospital is. We get there, and this is the best part. Travis, because it's like a business trip, Travis is like asking the taxi driver for a receipt. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Get the F out of the car. I think I'm dying. Like, and you're asking for a receipt right now? Of course, my husband, God bless his soul, I love him to death, but, like, I literally thought I was dying and I needed to get to the emergency room, and my husband is literally, like, making us wait a long time to get this fucking receipt. Eventually I just lost it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Let's go. This is an emergency. So I, like, literally tried to walk my, like, really painful ass into the hospital, and I am met with the security guard with a fucking wand thing to, like, wand me down to make sure I'm not bringing in fucking weapons into the emergency room. And that's the point where I knew, like, okay, this is definitely not a safe neighborhood. Like, this, I've never in my life, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been very fortunate. I've never had to walk into an emergency room before where I had to be wanded down. I went in, and I don't know how to, I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying this, because, like, I don't want to, but it was all homeless people in the emergency room. I'm pretty sure I was the only one walking in there that, like, was not homeless. And I know that sounds, like, really bad, but, like, I'm just trying to give you an idea of, like, what I was walking into. Not saying that I'm better than homeless people. I'm not. I'm just trying to tell a story and give you guys a visual, okay? It was extremely dirty. It smelled like urine, this emergency room. And I was in so much pain that I didn't care. I needed to see a fucking doctor. I didn't care where I was. I don't care how dirty it was or how bad it smelled. I needed a fucking doctor because I did not want to die, okay? And I literally thought I was gonna die. That's how much pain I was. I just figured this pregnancy has ruptured and I'm gonna die. I need to see a doctor. They need to fix this, like, immediately. So do you wanna know what happens? Thankfully, they get me in because they know my situation is, like, not good. But this is the teaching hospital, which can be amazing. And to be honest, like, I know I'm, like, painting a really bad picture of the hospital, but the doctors and nurses at this hospital saved my fucking life. And so I have not one bad thing to say about the doctors and nurses that worked on me. But the first ER doctor that I saw, I can promise you that I was the very first patient he probably ever saw in his whole medical career, because he was so scared and timid. And like, as a retired porn actress, I probably could have done a better job acting. I would have won a fucking Emmy acting as if I put scrubs on and pretended like I was the doctor next to him. I felt like he came in off the street and had no idea what was happening. He was like so timid, so shy, was not making me feel comfortable at all. I'm like trying to tell him what's going on, telling him I'm having really bad anxiety. And I'm like, is there any way you can give me some anti-anxiety medicine? And I definitely need pain medicine. Something's definitely not right. Like, I need you to control my pain. I'm like, but I don't want too much to where it's going to help me feel like I can't breathe, because I already feel like I can't breathe because I'm in so much pain. And he's like, yeah, well, putting those two together can definitely make it hard for you to breathe. And I'm like, okay, you're not helping. And like, honestly, he was so slow. Like, everything he said was so slow. And when you're in an emergency room and like you're in a lot of pain and you're freaking out, you want a doctor that's gonna like assure you that everything's gonna be okay, that they're confident in their like skills and knowledge of what's happening with you and is there to help you. You know what I mean? And I did not feel that way at all with this emergency room doctor. And it got to the point where like I was there for like probably over an hour, and he kept just like coming in and out asking questions, because you knew that he was new and didn't really know what he was doing, and he forgot to ask certain things and like whatever. All the while, I have not gotten any pain meds. I have not gotten like anything to control my anxiety. So I'm just like really suffering. I'm like literally keeled over in pain. I'm vomiting. It's really bad, you guys. My stomach is fucking distended, like this big. Something was not right, you know? Okay, so they sent me up for an ultrasound. So many things had happened, you guys, that night, and it was kind of a blur, but I'm trying to like remember the best I can. They sent me up for an ultrasound, and by this point, a new doctor had come in with this doctor, because I think they realized like, okay, something like she's not in good shape. Like, we need to send like an actual doctor in. Not that he's not an actual doctor, but he was probably like a first-year resident and like, you know, very new. So, and I felt bad for him, but at the same time, like I was literally in so much pain that like I didn't feel that bad, because I was like, give me somebody that like knows what they're fucking doing around here, you know? Even though I felt bad, like thinking that, it's just when you're in so much pain and you're so scared, like you want a fucking doctor, you know, that like knows what they're doing. And so like I felt bad, but I didn't. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not a bad person, I swear. Anyway, they came in, gave me morphine, gave me Ativan, which definitely helped, but I was still, even after like they gave me morphine, I was still in so much fucking pain. They also gave me Zofran to help with my anxiety, because I was like uncontrollably vomiting. So they end up taking me up to ultrasound to like look, and the ultrasound tech goes in and she's like, hold on, I need to call the radiologist. And I'm like, thank God they gave me Ativan. Ativan is like something to control your anxiety, because I would have like flipped out, because she like was looking at the screen and like could tell that like something was not right. And she called in the radiologist, which I've never had them do that before. I don't even think they're supposed to do that. Maybe they are, I don't know. But the radiologist came in and was looking at it, and then everything was a blur, but like I guess they had called in a bunch of doctors that were on call, like OBs and like specialists and all these different people, and they had to have a meeting in a boardroom about my situation and everything that was going on, because there was so much internal, and I didn't even know this. Nobody told me anything until like right before I was about to go in for surgery. And by the way, my first nurse was not very friendly at all, but my second nurse was so nice and so sweet. And like finally they came in, and I had a bunch of different doctors come in, and they were just like, you know, asking me questions, pushing on my stomach, which literally made me like want to scream. And they're like, okay, so you have a like severe internal bleeding, and we're gonna have to take you straight into the operating room, and we think that, you know, you might have had an ectopic pregnancy rupture on your ovaries, so we need you to sign this consent that it's okay for us to take out one of your ovaries. And it was just like a lot all at once, because like this whole time I'm sitting in the emergency room in pain for like, you know, a good amount of time, because this one doctor didn't know like what to do with me. And then once someone helped him, like shit got rolling really fast because it was an emergency, like, and I needed to go straight into the emergency room. And even Travis was like, are you sure, like, that you need to operate on her? And they're like, yes, like we need to go in right now. It was all female doctors, which was like so amazing. They were so sweet and so like kind to me. I think they also kind of maybe felt a little bit bad because they knew that like I just had my fallopian tubes taken out and now they're maybe getting ready to take out another one of my ovaries, and like they knew I was trying to have a baby. And so it was just a lot, and like I didn't have time to like cry or be emotional. Like I was just really more scared that like I was gonna die, because I was really close to dying. Like if I didn't go to that emergency room at that time, like I could have died. And so that's like something that was really scary for me. And I'm pretty traumatized from like all of this, especially because like the doctors like didn't catch it, and like I went on for so long, and like they let me fly across the country, and I was literally being operated on in like a place very far from home with no friends and family that I knew there, with all new doctors I've never met before, and like a hospital that like to me when I first walked in looked pretty sketch. Like even being rolled into like the operating room, there was like blood all over the floor. Like it was like, you know, a legit like emergency trauma hospital where they probably see a lot of shit go down, you know? So I was like freaking out. And like the best part was like when I was being rolled out to the emergency, to have my emergency surgery, like to the operating room, the nurse was so sweet. She's like, that's one thing, she was talking to the other nurse, but like to me too. She's like, the one thing I suck about working in emergency is like I don't get to follow my patients after this. And I'm like, oh girl, you can just follow me on Instagram. And like they thought it was really funny. Like literally everyone started laughing. But anyway, so they roll me back, and they like literally a whole team of fucking doctors, because it was a teaching hospital. They had like the attending OB, who I loved. She was so sweet. She even checked on me afterwards, like after my surgery and everything. And she was just very compassionate and like very knowledgeable, very, very smart woman. And I think she also teaches at that hospital. So it was her, and I think some of her residents. And for those of you guys that don't know what residents are like medical students that like are doing their time like on the floor in the hospitals, if that makes sense. And they have like, I think 1st through 4-year residents. And then they had like the anesthesiologists, and then they had like students for becoming anesthesiologists, and like there was a bunch of them like all around, and it was very overwhelming because all of a sudden like I just had all these doctors, and they're like, okay, asking me all these questions, and like, you know, having me sign these consent forms, and it was just really scary. But at the same time, like they were so nice, and they were trying their best to make me feel so comfortable when I was so scared. I'm not gonna cry. I feel like I cry in too many of my videos, so I'm trying not to cry in this one. But like I just felt very grateful to all those doctors and nurses, because when you feel like you're about to die, like it's a really scary situation, and like without those people and their like training and schooling and expertise, like I would have died. And so like there was like a moment where I just felt very grateful for all of them. I hate that I just get so emotional in some of my videos, but I feel like I shared such personal things with you guys. You're like it's like video diaries, you know? I just felt very grateful. Even though I was so scared with everything going on, I was just so grateful for all those people there, like ready to just save my life, you know? And they did, like they literally saved my life. Without them, I literally would have died. They went in, they stopped all the internal bleeding. Thankfully, it was not in my ovaries, so they were able to save those. Thank God, I still have those. And it was very, very rare. Like what happened to me, I don't want this to like scare people from getting pregnant, because it's so uncommon that this would happen to anyone, is that the pregnancy was like, if I remember correctly, like some of it was maybe on my pelvis or behind my pelvis or uterus, and then some of it was in my abdomen. So I feel like there are 2 different pregnancies and different tissue, but they ended up taking out some of the tissue, or as much tissue as they could. And also, this is like what made them such amazing doctors. Like I have endometriosis as well, and they cleaned out the endometriosis while they were in there, which I thought was so nice because they didn't have to do that. And they cleaned up all the bleeding, and they stopped the bleeding. and took out the tissue, and they test it like after the surgery to make sure it was like fetal tissue, and it was, which is like so uncommon and so rare that like they found you know, pregnancy tissue in my abdomen, because that's like nowhere near where you're supposed to have a pregnancy implant, you know? Pregnancy is supposed to implant down here, and my pregnancy somehow ended up here and back there somewhere. It was like very, very weird and sketchy. But thankfully I had a really amazing team of doctors, and they did a very good job. And then after that surgery, they ended up testing my levels, because my levels, when I got, by the way, when I got to the emergency room, they tested my HCG, it had shot up through the roof. And then after the surgery, it dropped down to 680. So they must have got a lot of the pregnancy out, but not enough of it. So then they ended up giving me methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy drug. And they injected that into me. So I had a chemo treatment, which made me very sick because I had lost a lot of blood during surgery. I became anemic like right away because of all the blood I lost, but I didn't lose enough blood to have a blood transfusion. So they didn't give me extra blood. They just were like, okay, you're gonna be good. You just have to, you know, take a lot of iron pills or supplements. I stayed a few nights in the hospital. That was crazy. And like I said, if you don't follow my vlog channel, we vlogged a lot of this, so definitely go check it out if you want to see like why it was happening. I vlog in the hospital, when I'm getting my chemo treatment, how it made me feel, like all that stuff is all on my vlog channel. What else am I missing? Because there was like so many things that had happened. So yeah, I was really scared to get the chemotherapy treatment, but I ended up getting that. They just gave it to me as an injection in my butt. And that's like a really strong drug. They really don't give that to you unless they think you really absolutely need it. So they gave it to me. It made me very tired, very weak. I felt very nauseous. My hair fell out. Not everybody, their hair falls out, but for me, I think because I was so, like, I was in the hospital for a few days recovering from that surgery, and for them to monitor me, and I wasn't able to eat. I was so like, I feel like malnourished because I hadn't eaten. I had lost so much blood, and then on top of it, they gave me that chemo drug, and I just like wasn't doing well, and then they gave that to me on top of it, and so I feel like it might have affected me a little bit stronger than most. And I did, like, when I went and took showers, like a few days later, I noticed that I had lost more hair than I normally would lose, like in the shower. So that was like scary. I actually cried over that, but like thankfully I have so much hair that like I'm not gonna lose my hair from that. It was just one treatment. I think that if I had to get multiple treatments, like I probably would lose my hair, but it just made me lose like a few chunks, but I'm totally fine. Like I said, my hair is I'm not gonna go bald or anything. Yeah, it was just crazy. And then we were only planning on staying in Philly for like 3 days. We ended up having to stay there for like over a week. And like so many crazy things happened while we were there. Like we had to, like once I was got discharged from the hospital, I still had to stay in hotels for a few days because they didn't want me to fly back yet because I wasn't well enough yet, and they wanted to like keep monitoring me and stuff before I flew. And so I was staying in a hotel, which was a really expensive hotel, and I would have never like picked to stay there if I knew we were gonna stay there for as long as we did. But like we had to evacuate our hotel twice, like one for like some security reason, and then two, there was like a fire, and this is like both in the same day. Like so many crazy fucking things happened when I was in Philadelphia. Like it was just so nuts. I can't even explain to you. Like I have so many more story times, but like I feel like it's just gonna be too long of videos to like put it all in one video of what happened. So basically that's what happened. Then I came all the way home. I was in so much pain. I ended up back in the emergency room because I was having even more pain. But now I'm at the point where I can finally say that I think I'm finally healing. I'm still not out of the woods. Like I'm still technically pregnant right now. My HCG levels have not dropped to a 0, which they want to see. So I still have to now get monitored every week until my levels go down, and then I'm not pregnant anymore. And then people are asking me like, so when do you plan on trying again? And I'm like, oh my God, honestly, like I don't want to get pregnant for a long time after this because I'm traumatized. Like obviously I still want to have big kids and babies, but right now like I just need to let my body rest. I need to get like all the chemo, the radiation, all the drugs, and like heal and just recover and detox from everything for like a few months, and then I can maybe start to think about having kids again. But like right now I just don't want to be pregnant anymore. Like I'm done. I want to get this little alien that's trying to like keep growing inside of me out because it's not a baby. Like it's never gonna be a baby, and it's just like very scary. So that's been like crazy like life that's happened, kind of summed up in like a 30-minute video. But yeah, thankfully I'm alive, I'm well. And I can't tell you enough like how much I appreciate all of you guys' love and support that's reached out and just been praying for us, and it means a lot to us to have you guys. So thank you very much. And things are only gonna go up from here, guys. Like, too many bad things have happened to me, so now like only good things are gonna happen from now on. So yeah, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys get the subscription box. If you don't want to get the subscription box, you can always get my book. It's available on Amazon. Thank you again so much for watching. I will leave links to everything down below. I'm sending you all my love and all my positive energy, and I hope to see you in my next video.